Hello all sentient beings and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this episode of Transmissions, KFC reveals they have a Powermaster Prime in the works. Toyworld surprises everyone with a Legends-scaled Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron, and Iron Factory gives us some updated images on their Legends-scaled Megatron. Today is Wednesday, January 30th, 2019, and this is episode 314 of Transmissions.
Hurry now. My name is Arish, and I host the Letterkenny Podcast at letterkennypodcast.com. It's about the hit streaming show Letterkenny, available in Canada on Crave and in the US on Hulu. Now, if you're not able to get those services, you really should listen to the podcast, where I go through each episode, give a synopsis, my review, plus some interesting facts about each episode. I even go through some of the show-specific terms you might not be familiar with, like Tilly Time or a Donnybrook. You can learn what it takes to have a super soft birthday party, or what even those two guys did with the ostrich. Allegedly. Anyways, we just finished Season 1. As a result, we're celebrating by having a Twitter contest, and we are giving away the Letterkenny DVD collection, which contains Seasons 1 to 5, plus 3 bonus episodes. So pitter-patter and get at her, subscribe to the Letterkenny Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. You can reach me on Twitter, at LetterkennyPod, or at letterkennypodcast.com. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to distribute some free literature. That commercial was so fucking pathetic, bud, you gotta give your balls a tug. Fuck you, Sharzy.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that's thankful the shutdown is finally completely over. For 3 weeks. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how you doing?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, how are you? Let's talk Transformers.
All right, so we are back again. It's another week of Transformers goodness. As always, we start off with donations. Thank you to all of the lovely people who continue to contribute and give us money on Patreon and PayPal. You are our Donatreons, and we love you. There are no new ones today, however, so sorry to Yoshi and Russian Yoshi, wherever you guys are. We'll try to do better.
You say that as if they're not the same person.
What the hell? I'm coming! You want me? I'm coming!
We're gone. Sorry, Russian Yoshi. We'll get you next time.
Son of a bitch!
Thank you to, we did get some folks who bought merchandise from our TeePublic store this week, so thank you to all the people who did that.
Yeah, I saw they didn't actually buy our merchandise, but they bought, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I think there was a Mario one and a random Transformers one. So, but thanks for using our link. Yeah.
Yep, we still get the commission, so. And so that's great. Keep doing that. So if you want a shirt from TeePublic, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop. Unfortunately,
the sale they just had is over, but we'll keep following our Twitter. We'll let you know when there's a new sale there.
I was going to buy my daughter a shirt, but I was supposed to have one, and I don't know where it is. I can't find it.
Check with customs. It probably got delayed there.
Oh. Okay, I will.
That's an inside joke. Jeremy was supposed to send Daryl a shirt.
I was supposed to give him a shirt at TFCon.
By the time I get it, she won't fit it.
I'll just go ahead and send it to Yoshi for his
yeah. All right, and it is the last weekend in not in Jeremy, but in January.
It is the last week of Jeremy.
Have you been talking to a doctor?
You're being voted off the show.
See ya.
It's the last weekend of January, so we would normally do the January Toy Hacks drawing, but we forgot about it. I forgot about it, so we'll get to it next week. Sorry, everyone. So we'll have 2 drawings in February, so don't worry. You will get a prize, so that just means, you still got time to sign up for the next one if you there you go. If you want to get in. All right, so let's get straight into some toy news.
All right, so first up this week, I've got a looks like a prototype image. I don't think they're CAD images anymore. These are full-on prototypes. But this is from KFC. We don't see a lot of stuff from them anymore, but this is going to be a big boy. This is KFC's P14 Raijin and their P15 Grand Raijin. This is their Powermaster Optimus Prime / Super Jinrai. It's a big boy. We've got some comparison shots here where it's standing behind MP10 and current Masterpiece Megatron MP36, and they legit tower over them almost by half. So they're big honking figures, and it's pretty cool. Now we've got a lot of different pictures of him in different poses and whatnot. One of my favorites here is a deep knee bend by the Optimus Prime version, and he's holding his chest windows open to reveal the Matrix inside. It's a pose that you normally cannot get out of a transforming figure because of the articulation in the waist and the knees. So that's a pretty interesting one there.
It's like Michael Jackson screaming, "Ah!"
Yes, only his hands are on his chest windows and not his crotch. But yeah, it's an interesting pose. We've also got one where he's sitting on a box with his legs like his one leg crossed over top of the other one. That is definitely a pose you can't get out of Transformer figures, normal ones anyway. Just the articulation on this is being showcased on these figures, these prototypes here. This is a pretty impressive range of motion. So I wanted to open it up to you guys here. Jeremy, you are a Powermaster fanatic. I think that's not even selling it short. You cosplay as Powermaster Optimus Prime to work every single day. Good thing you work at home, but it's almost incredible how much you love Powermaster Optimus Prime. So I guess it's a given. You're buying this, right?
I think you exaggerate a bit.
No.
I mean, I do enjoy Powermaster Optimus Prime, but I think you're exaggerating just a little bit. I don't cosplay every day.
Okay,
but
2-3 times a week.
Casual Fridays only.
Yeah, cosplay Fridays. But this is an impressive figure. I mean, I like the work that they have on the knees there. I mean, it's like behaving more like an actual knee. Mm-hmm. In, having the, like, I guess double joints or whatever it is. Some of these images are, I think, CAD, but it looks pretty impressive. The name escapes me, but the Apex Armor guy, he's kind of bland, but I guess the original is kind of bland too. And it looks like most of their work went into the details on Optimus. Mm-hmm. Although I'm not that big of a fan of the combined mode. Okay. I mean, at least from the colored image we have here, maybe it'll be better when we see a future image. But I mean, if that middle piece is chromed like the original toy, that'll make a big difference to me. Sure. But it's just the way it looks right here. You need more detail, more stickers or paint apps. But it's a great first start on this. Mm-hmm. I mean, it actually looks like from some of these that the elbows have similar work as the knees in some of the ways it'll bend. Like the actual joint itself looks similar. Mm-hmm. So the base Prime figure is definitely impressive.
Yeah, and it is shown. I don't know whether I mentioned it, but the base or inner Prime is about the same height as the MP36. So they're going for masterpiece scale out of this Powermaster Optimus Prime or Super Jinrai. Charles, I know you don't cosplay as much as Jeremy does as Powermaster Optimus Prime. but you did turn your Volkswagen that you had before your current car. You did turn that into a Powermaster Prime alt mode with some add-on kit that you were able to purchase off of an online Transformer store. So I mean, you do love Powermaster Prime quite a bit. Is this of any interest to you?
Well, why would I need this when I have a VW Beetle that's a Powermaster Prime?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that's why I'm asking. Really, I mean, I'm confused.
So the Inner Prime looks really good. I wonder how it transforms. Like the old Powermaster Prime toy, of course, was the Inner Prime robot had the faux chest going on, back in the day. I hope they do not do that with this one. That would make it more impressive, but it's already got it opens and has a matrix inside, so that's already pretty good. And it's the same, I guess, masterpiece scale now, so same size as the other MP figures, which means that says to me this entire set is going to be pretty expensive since they're already pretty big. I did have Powermaster Prime as a kid. I did get him for Christmas one year. So that was a fun toy. I played with him, and the Powermaster gimmick. I'd also like to see the Powermaster, the High Q, or I guess Jinrai figure.
Sure.
See what that looks like. But I think like Jeremy, I'm not too impressed by the Apex armor mode. That looks kind of bland to me. But if the regular God Jinrai or Powermaster Prime mode looks, I mean, we can see the prototype with his chest hanging, as his empty chest there. I'd like to see it painted up and everything. I'm not a fan of the God Bomber piece. I guess. I mean, I guess it'll. That looks kind of plain, I guess. But yeah, it looks like a good figure. It looks like if you're a fan of God Jinrai or Powermaster Prime, this looks like a really good representation. I feel like this might be a bit expensive since it's so big. If you can buy the components individually, like if you could just buy the Prime and just buy the trailer and not buy the God Bomber, that might be more affordable. But if you have to buy all three in a set, that seems like it's going to be pretty pricey.
It seems like you might be able to do that in pieces with the Powermaster and then the God Bomber separately, but
especially since they have their own numbers,
right?
Oh, okay, yeah. In the story, it does say it. It says, P14 Raijin is a solo release. The trailer Grand Raijin is sold separately. So there you go.
The one thing that I wanted to say is that the solo Optimus figure, or the inner Optimus figure, is pretty impressive. Once we get to see it in production plastic, it probably will be even more impressive. The deep knee bend is really cool. But I do agree with you guys in that the Powermaster Optimus Prime, or even the Super Jinrai is likely the worst possible aspect of this one. It looks like a brick. Now, again, this is a CAD model showing the combined mode, and it could possibly be a lot better than this, but it looks very static in this mold. It doesn't appear like, for me, I would personally like to see the wings bigger, possibly even a little shorter. He's very lanky. So if you shorten the legs up a little bit, he probably would even be a little bit better looking. I want to see him in production plastic really before I put my final judgment on it. But it's Powermaster Optimus Prime or God Jinrai has been a figure that's been done numerous times by third parties, and KFC is coming along with their designs. They've done a lot of really cool stuff recently, so I'm hopeful that this is a really successful design for them. I really like the design of the Optimus. I think that as it goes bigger and combines with other big pieces, seems to get worse and worse. So
yeah, I'm hoping that the combined version also has the same knee joints that the other figure has.
Right. Yeah.
And I really want to see the trailer by itself too.
Sure, yeah. And I assume we're going to see a lot of that as this progresses here. So, so that's my first topic. I did have one more that we can definitely kind of touch upon here. This is something that I don't particularly have a lot of interest in, and I've made my opinions known on the show about how I'm not really interested in movie figures anymore. But they did show off at where were they here? At an event in Hasbro event in China, a first look at 2 new movie masterpiece figures, and these figures are really cool to see. They're highly detailed, and a lot of people are really enjoying the movie masterpiece stuff. And what we get here is movie masterpiece Megatron and movie masterpiece Jazz, and it's pretty neat. This movie masterpiece Megatron looks like he's the one from the first movie. I'm just double checking that. Yeah, that's the first movie Megatron. And the Jazz is obviously from the first movie because he doesn't make it through. And one of the features of this movie masterpiece Jazz is that he does actually split in half. So you can recreate the famous scene on top of the building where Megatron tears Jazz in half. And it's kind of neat. I'm looking at with these movie masterpieces, especially the ones that turn into real vehicles. I'm looking at the Pontiac Solstice that Jazz turns into, and it's dead on. I mean, that's a really good looking alt mode there. And the Jazz from the original movie toy line was hot garbage, but this one looks really, really nice. So, yeah. I mean, obviously this is masterpiece, and I'm comparing it to mainline trash, and I would expect it to be a lot better. But this thing, it does look good. The robot mode is not my cup of tea, so I'm not really gonna really comment on it too much. It looks good. It looks like it's from the movie. It looks like it comes with a little Sam figure running with the cube, which is cute. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, start saving your pennies for some movie masterpiece figures. The Megatron looks massive. So it's going to be a big boy, but this Jazz looks like a regular like masterpiece car sized. Do any of you guys have any interest in the masterpiece movie figures?
I don't, but when I saw that it could do the splitting it in half, that interests me a little bit. I mean, just because it was like such a pointless death in the movies, and the fact that they actually made it where it's essentially a triple changer. It's like this: you got the car, you got the robot, and then you have the dead robot.
Yeah.
But that was an unexpected thing as I was reading about this.
Transform from alive to dead.
Yeah.
So when you tear it in half, there is actually an additional piece that you can actually connect to it. That's the spine that would hang out from him. So you can actually have this like dead piece of robot just kind of flailing about there. If you look in the pictures there, it's picture number 10. It's an interesting little accessory to come with these masterpiece figures. This little spine hanging out from the bottom of the torso.
I will say the Megatron alt mode looks pretty good. I mean, knowing our views on the movie figures, but this was, they didn't have an Earth mode they had to license or anything, and it looks like a pretty demonic looking jet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Charles, what do you think?
I mean, this is good for the people who want it. I'm not one of those people. So I mean, yeah, it is cool that they put this much detail and this much attention into the Jazz figure in particular. I still was not happy with how that went down in the 2007 movie. So this is not something that makes me nostalgic for anything. It just makes me want to forget about this. So. I mean, I'm not a fan of the look of Megatron. For me, for an iconic Megatron, you have to have the fusion cannon, and it took them 5 movies to get to a Megatron with a fusion cannon on his arm. Yeah, so for fans of the 2007 movie, I think these are great. These are pretty much really faithful. I mean, they're masterpiece figures, so they're really good. I will say that we do have some information about, like, they're supposed to come out. Megatron is coming out in September 1st, 2019. Price $160. And Jazz is November 1st and $90. So
Okay.
And Megatron is 12 inches tall and Jazz is 6 inches tall.
I have a question for you, though.
Or 30 centimeters and 15 centimeters, if you prefer.
I do prefer, thank you. A lot of these figures are coming from the first couple movies, these movie masterpiece ones, especially most of them are actually the first movie. Do you think that there's a chance that they've been working on these movie masterpiece figures for a number of years and just keeping them in the can until the time is right and the optimal audience has been, is waiting for, they're waiting for that audience to be ready to buy them?
It wouldn't surprise me if some of the work has been done. I mean, just because of the rate that they're putting these out.
Mm-hmm. They're coming out really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I think that's definitely plausible. I mean, I don't know how much time and effort it takes to design each figure and spin up production and manufacturing and all that stuff. So, I mean, they could have just like after because I mean, I think for the 10-year anniversary of the 2007 movie, that was a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were gearing up for that and wanted to get all these figures ready. And then when the last night kind of tanked, they were like, oh, maybe we should hold off on these for a little bit. I don't know how long it takes to design these figures, but I would say they were probably preparing for it, a few years in advance of the 10-year anniversary. I mean, I think 10 years is probably a good milestone where you think, oh, the kids who saw this movie, they're now older and they probably have some money to spend.
Yeah. Well, that's my thought, right? The original movies were what, PG-13? So You've got anywhere from a range of 7, which, is not really appropriate, but I would have taken my daughter to see it at 7. It's fine. And all the way up until...
I took my 7-year-old to see Bumblebee, so there you go.
Was it PG-13? Yeah, I think so. I took my 9-year-old, so...
I also took her to see Infinity War, so maybe I'm just a bad father.
No, that's just
we
not
didn't
right.
say it.
The age range is a really interesting discussion. Is the somebody who could have been 7 is potentially now 19 years old, and then you've got anybody who's older than that could have seen it in that age bracket, right? So all of these people have disposable income now, and then they could have waited for that, right? So I think it's a good possibility because these things are coming like crazy fast now.
Yeah, I mean, we also have the Generations line was pretty scant with the Power of the Primes being truncated.
Yep.
And then also, I mean, we've talked about the quality of the Cyberverse figures, so maybe a chunk of their design team was put on the Masterpiece and Studio Series lines, and that's why we got less stuff from the other lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to look at that as well, because we are also getting a really significant amount of Studio Series stuff too. So the movie line, we may only have one movie right now. The movies are actually more represented than any other series.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, that's all I brought to the show this week. Jeremy, what do you have?
I have another Megatron to talk about.
Oh.
It is a Toyworld's TWBS-01, and this is their Legends-scaled Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron. And this thing looks pretty good, in my opinion.
Complete with gold plastic?
They do not have gold plastic.
Oh.
I shudder to think what a Legends-scaled figure with gold plastic would do.
It just arrives in a box. It's a box of dust when you get it.
Yeah, pretty much. Dust and screws. But, I mean, you have your, like, all the modes. You get your robotic dino with little, fans.
And roller skates.
And roller skates. You have the robot mode, and he's got his little pincher tail thing. It looks like he has 2 hands, and then you can put the tail over one of the hands. And I really like this thing. The colors look great. Can't really find any issues with this. Looks like the the turbines will rotate, the tail's articulated, the dinosaur mouth has an actual like tongue in there, and this says that it also does have die cast, or supposed to have die cast and electroplating to make it nice and shiny. So I'm expecting more information probably at TFCon LA. But Charles, you liked Beast Wars. What do you think of this?
It does look pretty good. As I think I've said on the show a few times before, my brother was in the target age range for Beast Wars, so he got a bunch of the toys, and then he outgrew Transformers, so I got a bunch of of his old toys. And Megatron, this Transmetal Megatron was one of them, and he did crumble from gold plastic. So the gold plastic syndrome. So I no longer have a Transmetal Megatron.
How do you, as a parent, explain gold plastic syndrome to a kid if you weren't in the fandom and it just like happened to your toy or your kid's toy? I mean, like, that's just like, at first you probably like, what did you do to your toy? And then you touch it and it just disintegrates.
Yeah.
Like Thanos snapped. And I mean, it's like, how does someone that's not aware that it's a thing deal with that? I've always wondered.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think at the time when it did fall apart, I wasn't aware of gold plastic syndrome, and I was like, "What's wrong with this? This toy is old; it's just falling apart." I'm like, I just threw it away. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Why is this crumbling? Why are all the pieces falling apart just by touching it? And why is it so weak? I must have got a defective toy from 10 years ago, so I just threw it away.
Turns out you did. They were all defective.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I came to know about gold plastic syndrome later on, and it's like, oh, that's what happened to it. But yeah, so luckily my kids didn't do it, so I didn't. No one who was innocent got blamed for destroying this toy. But yeah, I mean, I guess in lieu of Hasbro reissuing a Transmetal Megatron, I think this is a good replacement, and looks like it improves on the Hasbro version pretty significantly by putting all the features from the show in there. So yeah, if you're a fan of Beast Wars Megatron and Transmetal Megatron in particular, this and you are also the Legends class, this Legends scale size, that's nice too. So yeah, this is a good figure.
Daryl, what about you? You like the Beast Wars toys?
I do.
Does this interest you?
It does, very much so. I actually, I remember buying this figure, the original, brand new, when it came out. I remember seeing it in the stores and thinking, that is a robot dinosaur. I need to buy that. That looks awesome. And I was actually dating my wife at the time, and I remember bringing it over in its box to my now in-laws' house and opening it there and taking it out and checking it out and thinking, I don't even remember if the thought crossed my mind that what are these people thinking of me opening up a toy, and playing with it.
I gotta say, I'm surprised you're married and that Kara exists.
Yeah, so am I. But yeah, so I did buy this figure, and I had it for a long time, and it was and it never broke on me, and I never really had any kind of idea what the gold plastic was either. And then I did when I still did toy reviews, I did a review of it, and it's up. I put the review up, and as I reviewed the toy, I snapped it in half in the middle of the review, and I was like, oh well, that's broke. And and then I just ended the review, and I put it up anyway, just to show that it had broke on me. I've since gotten another one because I really loved this mold. It's a fun mold. It's really kind of clever the way it transforms. I missed it when I didn't have it anymore. So yeah, I did rebuy it and get a new one. I'm glad to see that it's coming out again, and I'll definitely be picking this thing up. I think this looks fantastic, and I'm surprised it's taken third-party companies this long to produce something, whether it's Legends scale or not. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, it seems like they're just slowly getting into the beast stuff.
Yeah, I know, and the colors are great. I love it.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic.
All right, well, I have another. This is kind of a Beast Wars Megatron, but this is Perfect Effect PEDX09B Psychro Knight. And this is their version of Robots in Disguise 2001's Cryotech, which was a blue repaint of Transmetal 2 Megatron. We've seen a few Transmetal 2 Megatrons recently. Can't remember if Perfect Effect had one or not, but
yeah, I believe so, because this is a repaint of theirs.
Oh, this is okay. I should have read the first sentence there. Yeah, so it's basically a blue repaint of their Mega Dorgon, but I really like this thing. It's you've got like the wings are blue translucent. It's got just the colors on this are fantastic, and these are all CG images, but it's just I think it looks great. I don't know if any of us have seen the Mega Dorgon version, but I mean, obviously it sold well enough for them to want to do a repaint.
I think we have talked about it like when it was shown months ago.
I remember talking about it now.
I think we've seen it at TF cons, in some of those glass cabinets and whatnot. It's not a cheap toy, so
no. Yeah, this is not really Legend scale.
No.
One neat feature here that I see is the dragon's head. You know, typically the head of the dragon or the dinosaur is on his arm. You have a fusion cannon inside the mouth, and that's a nice effect. And it looks like they're expecting it to be May 2019. That's going to be out.
And we have a pre-order price from Big Bad is $179.99.
Wow.
It's the same price as their other one, though.
Well, Daryl, what do you think of this?
I like it. I think it looks pretty awesome. I agree that it's definitely like, I mean, I have the original Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Megatron. This is like, it's more robotic. It's not as animalistic, more organic. But I think it looks, I don't know, meaner with the sharper edges. So
yeah,
I like it. I think it looks fun. My daughter's got a thing for dragons. I'd love to get her something like this, but I know she'd break it. Then I'd have to strangle her. This
is a grown-up toy.
Yeah.
What about you, Charles?
It is a good-looking figure, but I think I prefer the red color for the original. It's definitely a nice figure, very articulated, very much, this robot dragon. You could have red versus blue square off here if you've got
Fire and Ice.
Yeah, $400 to spend. But yeah, I mean, I think Cryotech, he was some of the BotCon.
Yeah, they used him in the fiction a lot.
Yeah,
like he was never actually in the Robots in the Sky show. It was just a toy.
Yeah, just in the toy line. But yeah, in the BotCon fiction, he was like Megatron's mentor, I think, and so he is responsible for giving Megatron all his science smarts, so that's how Megatron could make that techno-virus thing for beast machines, I think. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong.
BotCon fiction is interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there was that's. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. No, I was going to say there was like a Return of the Wreckers comic where there was a bunch of new Wreckers who fought Cryotech. He was the villain, I believe. Anyway.
I have not been able to read a lot of BotCon fiction. I've tried.
I've never read any.
But anyway, that is all I've got this week. Charles, what do you have?
All right. So first, just an update on a figure we talked about before. So Iron Factory is releasing another Legends-scaled Megatron figure called Tyrant. And this figure is unique because it has accessories, so you can turn it into several different versions of Megatron. So you've got the IDW pre-war Miner Megatron. You've got his pre-Earth mode from Stormbringer, that comic series. Then a more traditional G1 styled figure, and then a modern looking, IDW updated figure. So it's a Megatron for all seasons, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got images of the toy in physical form. We've even got box images. You can see all 4 different versions of him in the box, on the box picture there. We've got several pictures of him posed with other Iron Factory figures. He's standing next to, is that the Tarn figure? Their Tarn figure in one image. And one next to Overlord. Next to Scorponok. Next to Shockwave. About to shoot Starscream. With a laser beak on his arm. And then fighting off against their Cybertronian Optimus Prime. And he's got his purple mace there. I think we've already talked about this, but now seeing it in the flesh makes it, very. It looks really good, I think. Daryl, what are your thoughts on this figure?
I think it looks really good. It's pricey. We've discussed the price of it before, but did you mention the optional hands from Starscream?
No, I did not.
So it comes with some optional hands for their Starscream figure, the Coronation Kit one. Mm-hmm. So you can do the famous pose with the outstretched hand for Starscream, which I kind of just want that hand. But this figure is really kind of cool. This Megatron you can produce so many different looks with this one figure.
Can you remind me what was the price?
I believe it was over 60. Maybe just 60, but this is there it is. The Tyrant, $64.99 pre-order on Big Bad. So it's pricey.
Bad. Yeah, but you get a lot.
You do. When you break it down, it's still just one figure. Sure, it may produce a bunch of different looks, but it's still just one figure. The possibility of making all the different looks is fantastic, and I really like that. But it is just one look. If you like the G1 look, that's fantastic. But you've got all this other potential that, unless you're going to switch up the looks all the time, you're going to have a box full of parts that are going to do nothing. If you're like me and just want the hands, or are going to use the hands, then that's a nice bonus. If you're not going to use the hands, then maybe you can sell them off and make a couple dollars back on this. But there are a bunch of different bits and pieces here that you may never use. So it's a really cool figure, a lot of potential. But for a person such as myself who doesn't do an awful lot with his figures once he gets them out of the box and kind of takes a couple pictures and messes around a bit, there's an awful lot of a big downside of a lot of stuff just sitting in a box.
That's a good point.
So anyway, I like it. I think it's beautiful, though. I would love to get it. $65 US is a tough pill to swallow for something that's going to be very small. It is a very nice looking figure.
All right, Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I was surprised that on the back of the box, actually, the name of each mode matches up with the comic series, with Monstrosity, Infiltration, Origin, and All Hail. I thought that they would have changed that, but I guess you can't really copyright a title.
Those are just words.
I like the modes look good. This would be like something I could see picking up at a convention, if I saw it. I mean, but like you said, Daryl, most of the pieces are just going to be sitting in the box. But I mean, if you're one to get out and fiddle with the toys pretty regularly and you want to change it up, I think this is something that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, the only one complaint I'd say is that the alt mode isn't great, I guess. And you can't turn it into a gun. I mean, that would be some kind of sorcery if you could get all this stuff in the figure and then also get a gun mode here. So it's still a pretty great figure.
If the extra stuff can be assembled into a gun, I'll buy it.
All right. Yeah. So Iron Factory, back to the drawing board.
I wouldn't say that. It's still beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
All right. Next, I just wanted to go through this Figure King magazine. So this always every month has a bunch of nice high resolution images of upcoming Transformers toys. In particular, for this month, they feature a couple of new things. First, they've got more images of MP44, the version 3 of Optimus Prime. A couple of things to note here is that they show how side swipe or the rocket pack that MP44 comes with can also fit on side swipe. So that's a neat little detail. Also, Prime's trailer. They show how Prime's trailer can store his accessories. They also show how you can fit Prime's laser rifle on his back, which is cool.
I really like the accessory storage. That's a pretty nice idea. That just you pull out the back bumper and it's basically a drawer.
Mm-hmm.
That's very nice.
And yeah, so that's just more details on MP44. We've talked about MP44 a lot, so I don't think we need to get back into that. But the couple of things that were new that have been shown in this magazine, first is a Golden Lagoon Soundwave. So this is another gold-plated figure, but they're using the Titan's Return mold for this Soundwave, which seems odd to me. I mean, they've got the Masterpiece mold, so it's a little bit weird that they're using this Titan's Return mold for Soundwave.
It's already going to be expensive because it's going to be gold. You don't want to add the expense of having it be Masterpiece as well.
I guess, but it's not real gold.
What?
You might think it's real gold because they're selling it for 10,000 yen, which is about $91.25 US.
Oh, you think so? It's 18,000 yen.
Oh no, it's in the there's another story where it's at Winter Wonderfest 2019 and it's now 10,000 yen. They updated it from the original story. That's because they changed from fake gold to real gold to fake gold. That's why the price went down.
That was probably smart.
Lucky us.
It's we've also got a couple of new movie figures. First, there's a Studio Series EX Drift with mini Dinobots. Ooh, if you ever wanted some mini Dinobots, it comes with this Drift figure. And we've also got a Movie the Best MBEX Arm Gun Bumblebee. So this is and these are both Toys R Us Japan exclusives. So this Bumblebee is a minor redeco of the Age of Extinction Bumblebee, and has a new movie accurate gun.
Oh.
So yeah, if you were into Age of Extinction or that other movie, The Last Night, you might be interested. I mean, you've got mini Dinobots with the Drift figure, so who doesn't want mini Dinobots?
We saw that at the last Hasbro thing.
Mm-hmm, that's where they announced it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think these are all a little bit quirky. I mean, the Golden Lagoon Soundwave seems the most interesting to me because it seems like they're continuing this Golden Lagoon theme, although with weird picking the Titan's Return figure, but whatever. So, Daryl, any of these new developments interesting for you?
Not particularly. My thought on the Golden Lagoon thing, though, is that it sounds like it's like a convention exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
If a convention is approached and they have the opportunity to get a exclusive figure, they say, okay, well, let's pick Soundwave. Well, can we get the G1 Soundwave? Well, sure you can, but it's made of steel. It's going to be X dollars or yen, but you can also, if you like Soundwave, you can get this Titan's Return one, and it's so many dollars less. I say, okay, well, we'll go with that one. If they're trying to make a convention exclusive that and they're doing cost analysis on it, that'd probably be a lot cheaper. I don't know. I'm thinking of like if they have an opportunity like we did with the comic book. We were able to do a comic book, but we had a lot of choices to make along the way, and they probably had the same amount.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. So yeah, maybe that answers some of our questions here. Jeremy, any thoughts on these figures?
Not really. I'm not too interested in the gold figures. I don't know. I recently got the Target remold of that figure, and I have the original one.
Mm-hmm.
I have no need for a gold one.
I like gold.
Well, you're not going to be at Wonderfest anyway, so you probably won't be able to pick it up.
I know. Yeah.
It'll appear on the secondary market.
Yeah. I mean, the movie figures, they looked nice, but as we discussed earlier, the movie figures aren't really my thing. I think what I got most out of these was just the things about MP44 that we didn't know, like the jetpack stuff and the storage compartment. It's still not enough to make me want to buy MP44, but it's nice improvements, which I think we'll see the drawer in the trailer be a more common thing with Optimus figures going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, those are my toy topics, so that ends the toy section, so let's move on to some trips to the store. This is where we show off all the awesome Transformer stuff we got this week. We do this as a YouTube video that you can see on our YouTube channel in beautiful high definition. But right now you can also keep listening to the podcast and listen to the audio version here, where we will describe all the things we got in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store. All right, so let's talk about what we got this week. I would start with Jeremy, but Jeremy tells me that he has nothing this week. So
nope, I think I showed this off last week, the Star Trek Transformers 4. That's it. Everything else around me you've already seen.
All right. Then I will go next. And I got to say I'm not much better because I just got a bunch of comics this week. So these are all the things I picked up that I missed out last week. I guess GoBots number 3 is new this week. So got GoBots number 3. Story took an interesting turn. I'm interested to review this one. So that was interesting. And then Star Trek vs. Transformers number 4. I got cover A and cover B.
Because it's a Star Trek book, your shop probably ordered multiple copies.
Yeah. So
I noticed mine keeps them with the Star Trek section.
And yes, Chris McFeely's Transformers Historia. Picked that up. So hopefully I can meet up with Chris McFeely at some point in the future and get it signed by him. He's been on Transmissions. He's been on our Declassified show once, and I think on the regular show once or twice. He's a good guy. So. No? Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. Maybe. So is this Charles to TF Nation confirmed?
I wish. Not really. But it's cool. I mean, it's just cool seeing Chris McFeely get an official published IDW book. So good job, Chris. Of course, had to support you. Had to pick it up. So
yeah,
nice.
With Chris off the list, it's only Charles next. I mean, there's Chris McFeely. I mean, really, Chris McFeely. He's up here. Really, I mean, he's he's up here. And then there's Charles. I mean, it's right here.
And then there's the rest of us.
We're down here.
I don't think I'm up that high, but
you need to start writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, also check out. I'll give a plug for Chris McFeely's The Basics on YouTube. Check out Transformers The Basics. He does great short videos going into different Transformers concepts. I believe he's doing it like monthly or bi-weekly.
Weekly right now. January is the month of obscure characters.
That's right. But it's over now. So, but yeah, I'm supporting him on Patreon. I think Jeremy is too. So
yeah, not enough to get my name in the credits like Mr. Big Shot.
Hey, this is about Chris McFeely, not about me.
Yeah. Some of us don't make that doctorate money.
I don't know what Daryl's doing there. Oh, anyway, that's all I got this week. So I'll throw it over to Daryl. It's your turn. What do you got?
Well, I do also have GoBots number 3. I haven't read a single issue of this yet, and I'm dreading when we do.
You didn't even read we reviewed the first one, didn't we?
We've reviewed the first 2. I thought.
Oh, yeah.
No, we haven't. Have we?
Yeah.
Well, I've forgotten.
We have.
Have we?
Yes.
I have no memory of it. It is that exciting. Yeah, I have no memory of reading these books. But I was in Kitchener this past week, and I was usually when I go to another city for work. Before I head all the way back to London, I see if there's a comic book store on my way back, and I make a pop in. And there was a new comic book store that I'd never been to, and I found this sitting in one of their back issue bins. It's Dreamwave, but it's like that weird cover that everyone kind of craves. It's the Ultra Magnus looking like he's punching the Magnus armor off of himself. I don't know what it's an odd cover, but it's like an RI cover. I don't know. So I picked it up. It was $5. So I thought, oh, what the hell? So that was kind of fun. These guys had an insane amount of comics. I probably could have spent all day there. So I'll make sure I go back and check them out. But I was at the Ontario Comic Con the Ontario Collectors Con today, and it's held in the same building as TFCon, and it's put on by the same people as TFCon. And I took my daughter, and I took a friend and his son as well, and I wasn't really looking for anything in particular. I picked up a couple comic books that I'd been looking for, and I found this guy sitting around, and I didn't have him at all, and he was complete, which is a definite bonus. This is G1 Mindwipe, so I picked him up. It's definitely
Nice.
a figure that I never had before, and he's in really good condition, and I like him. He's pretty awesome, and now I have the big old bat going to go in the collection here.
Nice.
Nice G1 to add to the collection. But other than that, I really didn't get a whole lot today. This guy was $60, so that was a pretty big purchase for me. But that's it.
All right. All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and let's move on to some convention news.
All right. This week we just have some TF Nation updates and convention news. Some of these are a little bit old. I just went back and realized we hadn't talked about some of this stuff. But the first thing here is the Forge and Trader applications are now online. The Forge is the area they have where if you make art or crafts or things like that, they have a specific area for it, and the Forge tables are 40 pounds on top of the regular weekend ticket, which is 65 pounds. And you can share the table with up to 3 people, so you can split the costs there. The Trader is, I believe this is more of the traditional toy selling. And the Trader tables start at 150 pounds for a block of 3 6-foot tables. And you can get additional tables, and these cannot be shared other than with people that are like on your booking. Just if you're interested in this, go to tfnation.com, and we'll have a link in our show notes directly to it. They also have some changes to their hotel reservation system at the Hilton. Apparently they've had a lot of issues with people booking the room and then a couple days before the convention canceling, which is, it seems odd. That's kind of what we do here as well. They are now requiring a deposit at the time of booking, and the deposit is equivalent to the price of one night stay.
Yikes.
So, yeah, it's non-refundable, non-transferable. So only book the room if you're planning on going. We have here a link to their post with all the details on that. And the last thing we have is just news. Their tickets are going to go on sale Saturday, February 9th at 12 p.m. GMT. So that is coming up in like a week and a half. So if you're interested in going, it'll be at tfnation.com, and the prices range from an adult or a senior is £10, like at 60 years old and older. That's for a one day. The weekend is £20, and the weekend for a regular adult aged 18 to 59 is $65. And if you're under 18, it's free. So that's pretty cool.
How many pounds do you have to be considered an adult?
You're too heavy.
Oh.
But anyway, this is the one event I think all of us really want to get to at some point. Mm-hmm. And it remains just an unattainable goal at the moment. Mm-hmm. But that is all the convention news we have. Yeah, just people that are interested in TF Nation, just make sure you go and check out that hotel change. That's probably going to bite some people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's all the convention news, so let's move on to feedback. And we have one email this week from Derek. Irish Derek, I'll say, because we have another Derek who's more in the States here, so who's a frequent Discord guy. So not that Derek, but we love all our Dereks, I'll just say. So yeah, so Derek says, "Hi Transmissions team, really enjoy the podcast. Proud Irish Donatreon supporter. Was listening to your recent episode 313 and was wondering, if they ever name a Transformers line after the podcast, who would you like to represent each member of the podcast in the toy line? Keep up the amazing work, Derek from Dublin." So, do they mean like which character would represent each person?
That's how I took it.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeremy, what character would you like to represent you?
Probably Retgar, because I'm always like trying to I'm putting bits and pieces of old tech together to try to get this thing working.
That's good. That's pretty appropriate. Good job. How about you, Daryl?
Well, I struggle to think of a fat Transformer, so I don't know of anyone that would physically represent me. So I'd have to go with something that was more to my physical strength and my mental acuity. So I'm going to have to go and say I'm Grimlock.
All right. Well,
it's not appropriate. You don't think that's appropriate? No.
I mean, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about your mental acuity or your physical strength. I mean that was a self-assessment. So I am taking your self-assessment at face value.
Grimlock in Cyberverse is smart until he transforms.
Yeah.
Me hear you compliment Jeremy on his choice.
Good choice, Sarah.
What about you, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I would say maybe Rewind for the encyclopedic cataloging of all information. But he's kind of little, so
you aren't going to choose something like Wheeljack because he is an engineer.
But I don't engineer anything for the show, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll go with Rewind. I'll be a tape bot.
Yeah, you're pretty small now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to throw it back at you, Derek. If you had to pick for us, what would you pick?
Yeah, I guess, should we pick something for Yoshi, even though he's not here? What should we give him?
I mean,
Who's
he is an asshole.
Spot? Is it Braun?
We're all picking Autobots, though. I think Yoshi'd be a Decepticon for sure. He's a total ass, and yeah, I think he'd be closest to Starscream. I'd pick Starscream for him.
Can hear Yoshi cursing now. DJ Ronan will be happy with that. All right, yeah, Derek. As Daryl said, give us your picks or your thoughts, and let us know what you thought of the ones we picked.
That's right.
And that's it for feedback this week, everyone. That will do it. That's the end of this episode of Transmissions. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Hey, you're the one doing a sex tape with Quentin.
I was. God, that's a sexy name.
He's there. Don't you see him, Daryl?
I do.
Nobody puts Craig in a corner. So I just want to do it this week and let Mike look at it and see what he says. And he's the arbiter of how we record.
Anything to make his life easier, I guess.
We have to keep him liking us.
It was too long.
Too long, bullshit. I've never heard that. I've never heard anyone say that ever.
I'm sorry to hear that, Daryl. I'm your host, Charles, a.k.a. Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Yusuf, better known as No, not Yusuf. He's not here.
Yo!
What school?
IUP.